Hey guys, we are going to dive into how to use clipping planes to look at plans, sections, and eventually get to the chunk that you guys are trying to make. So you guys are going to have a variety of projects to pick from with different areas of those projects that you can start to use to make chunks. But right now, um, this is a very basic example of what to do. You may pick something that has the geometry like this, or you may pick something whose geometry is more complicated, where you have different roof planes cutting in at different angles, or walls, or curves, and all of that is fine. I recommend testing yourself and pushing yourself if given the option to do so. But that being said, what we want to do is we want to look at clipping planes today. So if you go ahead and type in clipping plane will be the first thing that pops up. And basically anywhere you just kind of draw your little square. It doesn't matter how big it is or where it is. This, you'll notice how our model disappeared. That's okay. It has not been deleted. It is still there. This line right here is the direction that is being clipped. So if we just grab this and pull upwards, you can start to see what's happening, how it is slicing through what we have existing. What's interesting is that it doesn't really matter where we put this. The only thing that matters is the direction of how far we're clipping. So right now that just happens to be vertically. So you can use this to make some really interesting things. And of course, if we just take it and use the gumball to rotate it, it works in other directions as well. So we can start to get some really interesting shapes from this. You can angle these any different way. If you want to get some strange cuts, you'll start to get something like that. And that could be a really interesting chunk to go off of, depending on what project or what area. I don't know if you have any limits as to what kind of chunk you're supposed to make. Maybe you have to make an orthogonal one, but what you can do is when you're making your plans and sections, you can take your clipping planes like this and then go into the top-down view. Click on your clipping plane and come over to properties and turn your clipping plane on in all your views. Once that is done, you can basically see that your clipping plane adjusts in your other views as well. Unless you turn it on, it won't, but now you can see it moving in 4 windows. And it shows on the top view what's being cut through. But if you wanted to make a plan of this, like cutting through the second floor, now that it's on, you could highlight everything, make 2D, and boom, you have, type in ZSA, you have 3D line work. And what's really nice is that the line work that you made is on the layers that you already have. So if you had objects on 3 different layers, then your lines will be on 3 different layers in the order that they were. And this is really helpful when we export into Illustrator, like you saw last week how to do. So that is how you would get a plan. Now, if we go back in and rotate this clipping plane, I'm doing -90 because of the arrow direction that you can see. It was going this way, so -90 brought it back around. You can cut through this way to get a section. Honestly, how we already have it modeled, this also is a section, and that's because we obviously like traced a section to begin with. So that's kind of another example of a section right there. You could then take that and go into the view right here. I believe it's actually on the left side, so we're going to set view to the left. Yep, you can tell because it's cut darker. We can just make sure we grab everything. Make 2D again. And then there's our section cut. And then if you go down to your isometric, you can pick a corner that was northeast. That was not the corner I wanted. Wanted southwest. Will give you this is an axo view. And what you can do is you can copy your clipping planes. Now you have two of them, right? And so when you start to rotate, you can have as many of these active at once as you want. And so you can start to really get some interesting shapes. I moved my axo view to parallel, but if you go back, set view, ISO, for me it's southwest, then you can have this as a perfect ISO and you can again make 2D. And you'll notice the clipping plane is actually clipping through the line work as well. So what you can do is you can grab this clipping plane, go to properties, and turn it off in top view. So just in the top view, you get to see all your line work again. And so you can then use this to start drawing your plans, sections, and axos in Illustrator by highlighting everything, taking it, export selected, make sure it's an Illustrator file, name it, save it, and then you should already know what to do with the line weights and the line work in Illustrator. So be sure to ask any questions you have and keep up the good work, guys. You're doing great. Talk to you soon.